Hey folks, Buster, welcome back to another Pokemon Massive video, and today we're going to talk about the banner that's coming, I think, later tonight, right, at the reset, which is a Wallace and Singsu Grimsley dual banner. Singsu Grimsley back again on another dual banner. Do not remind me. So, basically, this banner is... And they've been running these a decent amount, right? It's these dual banners that run back, and then they either have a synchro expansion on it or like a 5-star EX on them, right? For example, the last one, or the one we just had earlier was regular Lisa and Clement, right? And when you do a pull on those banners, you actually get an extra power up, or actually I guess 3 power ups for your first 5 bonus scouts on either Elisa or if you get Elisa or Clement, which is pretty cool. So outside of that, right, Elisa got a synchro expansion, Elisa got a 6-star EX, and in this one, Wallace didn't get anything, right? It's mainly Singsu Grimsley who got a 6-star EX, which is pretty cool, right? Oh, cool. You could switch the views. But yeah, does it change that much in terms of outfit wise? I mean, oh, I guess, yeah. Yeah, okay. I could see it, I guess. I don't know why, but like, I just never felt like Grimsley's 6-star EX really changed that drastically, even though it's obviously a change, right? I mean, the cape is red, the pants are blue, the shirt is black. Like, everything's changed. But like his whole aesthetic is just so like consistent, right? So anyways, yeah, moving on. Got a 6-star EX for Singsu Grimsley. Again, synchro expansions. Do keep in mind we're also getting rerun with Fantina's with the her grid as well later with Morty on there, who's getting a 6-star EX. So this is, I think, the banner that got probably like the least amount of stuff here, because again, Wallace didn't get anything, and then Grimsley only got a 6-star EX, and then the Wally banner later would get Wally a 6-star EX, and then Glacia a synchro expansion. So anyways, that aside, let's just go talk about the units first, right? So let's go into Wallace, because again, nothing really changed about Wallace. Let's just quickly go over it, right? For those who don't know what Wallace does, let's talk about it, right? So Wallace Milotic, it's a water tech, weak to electric, right? It's basically a tank, for the most part, that does some other interesting stuff, right? So it has stationary target 5, powers up, moves when the target is trapped, Poke Trap 5, increases the amount of damage when the target takes from being trapped, and then recuperation restores the HP after using a sync move, recuperation 2. And as for its stats, very, very, very high HP, right? 759 HP, 105 attack, 138 defense, 309 special attack, 168 special defense and 230 speed. So basically really good special attack, very, very good HP, decent special defense, and not that great defense for a tank, right? But we'll talk about why this number doesn't matter as much, right, later. And then okay-ish speed for a tank, I guess. It's not anything crazy, it's not good, but it's not like Steelix or whatever, right? Some of the other tanks that are much, much slower, Blastoise. So yeah, Wallace is a mixture of things, right? It could take hits very, very well. It has a lot of self-healing on its grid. It could deal decent damage, because look, that's straight up, that's plus 300 special attack, right? With Brian, that doubles in power when the opponent has only half its HP bar left or whatever, right? And also has Miracle, which is does big damage. So yeah, basically got Brian again. The base power is not the best, but it's doubled when the opponent's HP is half or below. So that's cool, I guess. As for Whirlpool, actually, I don't. Is that Brian number correct? Let me quickly check. Let's see. Brian should be at 1 out of 5. I think Brian's like slightly. Oh, actually, it is 38. Oh, never mind. It is 38. Okay, cool. 100% accuracy, all that stuff. Whirlpool, it's a trap. 85% accuracy, much lower, right? And Ground Illusion, which reflects status conditions directed toward the ally's field of play to the opponent instead, makes user able to endure next hit it takes. This isn't as good as it sounds, because it doesn't like, and this is kind of annoying, it doesn't reflect status conditions that are caused by secondary effects. It only like reflects stuff like a hypnosis, like from the Milotic in the full force battle, or like a will-o-wisp or whatever, thunder wave. It doesn't really, or confuse ray, or whatever, right? It doesn't reflect, I don't know, does it reflect confuse ray? It doesn't reflect, like, say, you know, for example, in Entei's, I guess, Legendary Arena, right, with like hostile environment, a billion on the heat wave. So you still get burned on those, right? You can't reflect any status conditions that come with the secondary effect of some other move, right? Which is kind of annoying. I don't know why they didn't do that, but it's all right, I guess. And then Miracle, which it's Miracle. It basically does sort of does what it does in the main games. Reflects special attacks, more powerful. The special attack move is more damage it does. You got to remember the Ho event, right? When the Vile Plume used that Hyper Beam, and then you could reflect it with Miracle, it just takes out the Vile Plume, or else you get taken out if you don't reflect it, right? It's situational. But yeah, like it's like Wallace's moveset, in my opinion, is not that great. Mainly what Wallace does is on its grid and its, I guess, stats, right? For the most part. Anyways, speaking of grid, let's talk about its grid. Wallace's grid is really, really good, right? You got a lot of great stuff in here, and here's one of the reasons why I said the physical defense stat isn't that, relevant, because you have Sterner stuff too, which reduces physical attacks, by 20%, which is, you don't really have to worry about your defenses, right? Got First Aid 4, got Healthy Healing, right? You also got, where is it? Miracle Catalytic Cure if you want that. As for some other stuff, Grand Illusion Shielded Squad 2 sharply raises defenses for a whole team on Grand Illusion. As for some, we also got Revenge Boost 4, right? 50% chance of getting a move gauge every time you get hit. And you also got Grand Illusion Inspire Ire, so you could use like Wallace as sort of like an off tank to like redirect damage when your main tank is kind of low, right? So that helps give your main tank a bit of a breathing room over there, right? As for some other stuff that it does, it has Poke Trap 1 over here to increase more damage that you do from your Whirlpool Trap damage. And you got Super Duper Effective 2, which again, helps you deal damage, because again, you could, like, Wallace is a very, very solid damage dealer, despite only having like a 2-gauge move at like 38 power, right? Which again, it does double, right? The opponent's HP is under half. And then do keep in mind also has like Poke Trap 5 on himself as well. Also got like Recuperation for healing, right? Like Wallace just has a billion ways to heal itself. Milotic is just like so many heals, right, on itself. It's kind of crazy. And then you also have another station target 3 over here as well. So like overall offensively, it can do things on the offensive side. It's great on the defensive side. Obviously, the amount of heals it gets is kind of absurd, and it's much better than a lot of the other units in the game that like have like self heals, because heals is based on a percentage of your HP, and like some other tanks have like self heals, but like those tanks are like lower HP but higher defenses, right? So you don't actually heal that much. But Wallace actually heals a lot because Wallace has a lot of HP, right? So yeah, Wallace is still a good unit. It's a really, really good unit. Would I summon on this banner just for Wallace though? Probably not. Wallace doesn't, like, here's my issue with Wallace. Wallace is a fantastic unit, obviously. It just doesn't really like fill any specific role that anyone like really needs, unfortunately, right? It's just a generally really good unit, right? But it doesn't fit any specific kind of sort of mold that you're trying to look for in certain units and certain team comps, right? So that's Wallace. Moving on to Sygna Grimsley, which is the more interesting one here, because Sygna Grimsley is getting a 6-star EX, right? So let's first go over regular Sygna Grimsley. Like, regular Sygna Grimsley is already really, really good, right? Does the 6-star EX add to it a lot? I'd say to an extent. It's it's very, very different from Singsu Lisa, and also very similar to Singsu Lisa, except that Singsu Grimsley is much more situational than Singsu, or not Singsu Lisa, regular Lisa, right? In terms of the 6-star EX outfit, the kind of buff that they get, right? So let's go over it first. So it's a water type striker, weak to fairy, right? Fast track 2, moderate chance of raising Pokemon speed after it uses a move, with like 366 speed stat. Before Mega, after Megas, it's like 375. Just pointing that out first. Power Flux 5, more the full of the move gauge, more powers up moves. Double Down 5 powers up sync moves that are super effective by 50%. So even though it is even though it is a Mega, so it has a base 160 sync move power, right? It does have that buff when you are attacking sync pairs that are weak to water. You basically get as much as a regular sync move damage, right? Around 240. So and here's why I do say that it's similar to regular Lisa 6-star EX, but more situational, is because regular 6-star EX, at least you could throw her out and sync nuke, AoE sync nuke whatever unit, right? And damage, I mean, obviously you do have this factor in the super effective damage, but elsewise doesn't change that much. The issue with Sharpedo is if you're not syncing something that's weak to water, your damage gets cut by a decent amount, right? But once you're syncing something with water, it's about as good as, I think even better, right? Yeah, even better than regular release, because you got the much better attack stat, right? So anyways, let's just keep going through the kit first, right? So HP, a decent amount, right, for Striker. Like, a lot of people make fun of, like, Sharpedo. Oh, haha, it dies because its trainer move is whatever, it's super frail. It's not really frail at all. Like, its defense has really, really good defense. 144 on both defenses and, like, over 600 in HP. That's actually, like, really, really good defensive stats for a Striker, right? 331 attack, 366 speed, like, every single stat, oh my god, even 331 special attack for some reason, even though it doesn't have any special attack. Like, every single stat on Singsu Grimsley is fantastic. Like, the dude, like, stat-wise is phenomenal. Like, this is, like, Luxray levels of, like, good stats, right? Like, every single stat, there's not a single stat that's a liability. All positives here in terms of stats, right? Moving on to the move kit, got Waterfall, small chance of flinching, right? X attack is X attack. Liquidation, small chance of lowering the the target's defense over there. And then you also got Synchro Swim, which is a trainer move, which is the one people meme about, except you don't have to use it. Right? Moves all status conditions, drastically raises evasion and crit. User takes 90% of your remaining HP. If used by Mega Sharpedo, also radically raises user's attack, right? So Synchro Swim is like, going past a very, very shallow understanding of and making fun of the move. I think it's actually a really super interesting move, because the context in when you use it could make it actually a very, very powerful move, especially if you combine it with something like the sync nodes, like the power reserve that Singsu Grimsley has, right? The timing on when you use Synchro Swim is super interesting to sort of think about and use, right? But yeah, the 90% HP does not make it the best trainer move in the game. They were close near that, right? But yeah, I do think that Synchro Swim is much more nuanced than people sort of make it out to be. Anyways, moving on, got Mega Sharpedo. Mega Sharpedo has even better stats, right? 364 attack, 475 speed, I think, are the only differences here. And then you exchange Waterfall for Aqua Jet, right? Which is a quick move, which is incredibly overkill, because not only do you have like almost like 500 speed, you also have like faster. Well, if you 20 out of 20 has 500 speed. If you oh my god, dude, 500 speed. Here's that's like the only thing, like there's that kind of actually sort of entices me to 20 out of 20 this guy and 6-star EXM. Not that I have the resources. I'm probably not going to do it personally, but like, damn, that's some speed. Anyways, moving on. I just got Aqua Jet in replacement. So going over to Synchro real quick, right? And this is another reason why I say it's, similar to a regular Lisa in a sense, because it has inertia as well. And not only does it have inertia, it also has extra sync nodes. So like this thing, when you're attacking a water type opponent, right, it will do more AoE sync nuke damage than Elisa would. It straight up just does more AoE sync nuke damage than Elisa does. And you guys saw how much damage Elisa did, right? And with the added benefit that Sharpedo is a water type, it could also take advantage of, obviously, rain, right? Just like Elisa could take advantage of electric terrain. Also, I think Sharpedo has a better team, I want to say, right, in comparison to Elisa as well. I wouldn't say a better team, but you know what? I take that back. And Volkner's just so good, right? Volkner's just so much better than either Blastoise or Pelipper, which in this case, obviously, Blastoise is the better one, right? But yeah, it's a pretty, the synchron standard. It's not the craziest thing in the world, but it's very, very good, right? Like, Sharpedo is one of the rare units that are really, really good at 1 out of 5. Obviously gets much better at 3 out of 5, right? Because inertia, extra sync damage. I got liquidation on roll, increases the chance of decreasing the opponent's defenses, which is fantastic. I got waterfall aggravation if you want to like run some kind of like tech Sharpedo, right? Not as a striker with waterfall, that's fine as well. Got first aid if you want, power reserve. On Sharpedo is again, I did a video with power reserve actually before, Mr. Power Reserve hater, right, with Sink or Swim, like Power Reserve Sink or Swim strategy. That was actually super fun to do. Check that out on the channel. Speedy entry, all that stuff, right? Like, it doesn't have too many like there's like a few like nodes that are like insanely good, right? Liquidation on a roll, inertia, but like most of these are kind of they're okay. Nothing too special, right? But yeah, like its synchro is still really, really good, just because inertia and liquidation on it will just make it so much better, right? So yeah, basically the 6R EX just gives you another AoE sync nuke, which is again probably stronger than Elisa's, right? In terms of damage, I haven't done the calculation, but I would imagine it's stronger. Like what Elisa has over which syncs with Grimsley is the extra 10 power on her base sync move, right? What Grimsley has over Elisa's higher base attack and the extra nodes once you grid it, right? So yeah, Sharpedo I do think probably has I wouldn't say probably, I mean definitely has more damage on the sync nuke at max, right? So yeah, anyways, in terms of the banner, here's the thing. Water type strikers, unless you really, really want these units, right? The free-to-play options are just so good. Barry is very, very good, right, as a free-to-play option. Obviously, you can't really compare it to like a 6-star EX, fully graded Sharpedo. That would be ludicrous. And you also have Misty as well, which Misty, if you guys don't know, Misty is a fantastic water type striker. I think I think Misty does like the most damage on a single move for like any water type striker, which is kind of weird, but I think it does. Like I think it does even more damage than Sharpedo on a single hit, right? If I remember correctly, but it's really, really good. Obviously Misty really bulky as well. And then, Barry does a lot of damage on a sync nuke, right? Its regular moves also do okay-ish damage. It's not, like, terrible anymore, right? Bubble Beam. Obviously not the best. But, is a very, very, very powerful sync nuke. Because I think it has, 2 sync nuke nodes. Although, very hard to set up, right? In comparison. But, once you do set up, it does good damage overall, right? So, like, I really don't think this would be something worth summoning on. Again, with all the other banners that you still have Sinsu Blue around if you want that, right? The Halloween banners are still coming up, which are limited time. So as good as these units are, like if you want to do like daily summons on these, just to like maybe get a few extra those power ups, right? You could do that, but otherwise, I probably just wouldn't, right? I probably would skip this one entirely, even though, again, the legendary, arena anti rerun is coming back up. But again, like I mentioned before, Barry, Starmie, they should be fine, right? So anyways, That's for this one. I hope you guys enjoy. Let me guys think in the comments down below. Like and enjoy this video, subscribe to my channel for some more Pokemon Masters content. I'll see you guys in the next one.